largest, bloodiest battles in history. The fight for Stalingrad between the Red Army and Axis powers lasted 199 days and ended with a Soviet counteroffensive that trapped and destroyed the German 6th Army and other Axis forces around the city.
The importance of Stalingrad was not just the size of the victory, it was the fact that the Soviet Red Army had learnt how to defeat the Germans.
Throughout the battle, the Germans held up 90% of the city, but the Red Army fought through and in the end used Hitler's weakness to trap his army.
The Red Army Command was, and the Stavka, was particularly clever in the way that they made use of Hitler's obsession with Stalingrad. They realized that Hitler wanted to use Stalingrad as a sort of replacement victory because he had not been able to conquer the Caucasus. And from that reason, this trap was laid where the obsession with Stalingrad meant that they could then prepare this huge encirclement. And this was what gave them this magnificent victory.
The victory came after major sacrifice, millions of lives lost, many of them innocent civilians. It's said the Red Army suffered over 1 million casualties, the Axis an estimated 850,000. Over 40,000 Soviet civilians were killed in Stalingrad during the battle, a battle that would be remembered not only for its size and ferocity, but as a turning point in a war that would become Russia's greatest victory. A victory that would become the world's.
First thing that the Western Allies saw from the victory at Stalingrad was that they realized that no Western army, no British, American, French army could have survived, could have resisted as the Red Army did at Stalingrad. And they also knew that the terrible casualties that the Red Army was suffering gave them a sort of blood guilt, if you like. They knew that they had to fight through right to the end with the Soviet Union after the terrible sacrifice made by the Soviet people.
The sacrifice and victory not just of the Battle of Stalingrad, but of the war, is something close to the hearts of Russians young and old, but most of all to those who were there and remember how the simplest things became the most cherished delights.
We were always keeping track of what was happening on the front. Our windows were covered in charts where we would keep count on casualties and so on. It was bittersweet. There were moments when we would get a loaf of bread, and it would seem like the happiest moment, because most of the time you were thinking about how hungry you were.
Hunger that lasted for more than 2 years before it could be appreciated. The victory in Stalingrad led to the entire victory of the Second World War. Stalingrad was awarded the title the Hero City in 1945, and 65 years later, now called Volgograd, its victory and pivotal role in the war has not been forgotten. Anissa Nawe, Russia Today.